Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over 10 vehicles in Grand Theft Auto Online that I think could use an HSW upgrade. This is sort of a wish list that if Rockstar was going to add some more HSW cars, maybe they could add HSW to these old cars that already exist in the game. Obviously they've been doing a lot of the new cars they've been releasing in HSW, but I think the community would appreciate seeing some older cars have HSW upgrades applied to them. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started with number 10. Starting off at number 10, we have the Benefactor Feltzer coming in at $145,000. Now unfortunately, the Benefactor Feltzer is no longer available to be purchased in GTA because they removed it from the website, which is a very big L. However, I would like to see an HSW upgrade available for the Feltzer because this car has maintained somehow being at the tip top of the sports category since its release in 2013 when the game initially came out. The Feltzer is within the top 20 fastest sports cars around a circuit, even right now, which is kind of crazy to think about, and I think that it deserves an HSW upgrade being that it has maintained being so good for so long in the sports category. It's already got some decent customization, it's already pretty fast, and it already has pretty good handling. However, I would like to see it be a little bit faster in a straight line so it could maybe keep up a little bit better, and of course have some special HSW customization options like some forged carbon wings or just maybe some regular carbon wings and stuff like that get added onto the car. Maybe some more aggressive front splitters, maybe some more aggressive diffusers, things like that would be great to see for the Feltzer. I think it deserves an HSW upgrade because it's maintained its dominance for so long, and it still is a really good sports car, and I would like to see it get some more love, some more attention, and maybe they could even put it back on the website. That would be really cool to see. Doubt it'll ever happen, but HSW on the Feltzer would be a welcome addition to the game, I think. At number 9, we have the Zentorno, coming in at $725,000. This is sort of similar to the Feltzer. Ever since this came out in 2014, the Zentorno has been a fantastic supercar. It's one of the fastest supercars to this day. It's somewhere within the top 30. It used to be a lot better until recently. We've had a lot more fast supercars come out. But even still, it is one of the best bang for your buck supercars that you can get in the entire game. For only 725 grand, the Zentorno is absolutely phenomenal. It actually got some more customization added to it with the Criminal Enterprises DLC last summer, which was really interesting, allowing you to modify it a lot more and put way more customization options onto the vehicle. So I think it's only right that it gets an HSW upgrade so that you can use those customization options on a vehicle that's actually quite a bit faster than it currently is. Seeing the Zentorno be similarly fast to the weaponized Ignis with HSW would be absolutely amazing, except with way more customization. I think it would be very, very nice to see. That's it for the Zentorno at number 9. Let's move on to number 8. Now, we don't actually have a dedicated off-road HSW vehicle, really. I mean, you could count the Meibatsu Monstrosity, I guess, or maybe the Pfister Astron Custom with HSW, but I think a dedicated off-roader like the Vapid Caracara 4x4 that you guys can see right here, for $835,000, this is a great vehicle to begin with, and with HSW, I think this thing would be absolutely phenomenal for climbing up mountains and for doing off-road activities. If you wanted to shred through the canyon really, really fast, HSW would help a lot with that. I'll be completely honest, I don't see a huge point in putting HSW on off-road vehicles, but I still think that it would be cool to have at least one in the game so that we could just experience what that would be like, and maybe we'll like it, maybe we'll hate it, but at least we'll know. I think the Vapid Caracara 4x4 is a great truck to do this on. You can make it similar to the Shelby Raptor that has been out for a few years now. I think that would be really cool. Some additional customization would be very welcome on top of that. I think a Vapid Caracara 4x4 with the HSW would be phenomenal to see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let's move on to number 7. At number 7, we have my favorite car in the game, the Truffade Adder, coming in at $1 million. I would love to see an HSW upgrade on the Adder. I would love to see them make the rear spoiler that is supposed to be on the Adder, that is part of the secondary color on the car, them to make that active. I think that would be so cool to make an active spoiler on the Adder with the HSW upgrade, or give us some spoiler options, I guess. But it'd be really cool to see that rear spoiler become active on the Adder. I think that would be a really cool way of incorporating HSW into the vehicle. The Adder's already a pretty decent car to begin with, but its lack of downforce has held it back a lot. It does have a pretty good top speed of 126 miles per hour, And the handling, honestly, for having no downforce isn't too bad, but I'd just like to see the adder get the love that it truly deserves. It is still available to this day in online, and it is still a great supercar to own, but with HSW, I think it would be just that much better. If we can make the adder, you know, have a way higher top speed, have some actual downforce, I think it is a car that is very much so deserving of having an HSW upgrade. I think that would be great. So Rockstar, if you're listening, let's make the adder an HSW vehicle. Thank you. Fingers crossed. Next up, number 6, we have the Obey 10F or the Obey 10F wide body, coming in at $1,675,000 for the regular 10F and $2,250,000 with all the upgrades applied to it to make it into the wide body. I think HSW makes sense on this car. I would love to see it. The 10F deserves to be a fast car, and with the wide body on it as well, I think it definitely needs HSW. I think that would be so cool to see. Imagine a 10F that's actually like very, very quick. Like, it's a decently fast car. It is somewhat top of the sports category, but with HSW, this thing could compete with all of the top ones, and I think that would be really cool to see. So, you know, I think especially particularly with the wide body, HSW just makes a lot of sense to do because it is such a unique and extreme looking car. The HSW would fit right in, and it wouldn't be that hard to incorporate some special HSW parts like wings and stuff like that into the vehicle. I don't know, Rockstar, I think we got to make it happen. Fingers crossed for HSW on the Obey 10F and the 10F wide body. Let's move on to number 5. Next up at number 5, this is a request actually, the Karen Kuruma Armored, $525 grand if you have the trade price, $698,000 if you do not have the trade price. HSW would be sick on this car. Can you imagine the utility of a Karen Kuruma Armored for especially lower level players if it had HSW on it as well, so you could actually get around quickly and it would actually handle pretty decent? That would be really sick to see. I think that this would definitely gain a lot of spots on a lot of people's like best cars in GTA lists if it had the HSW upgrade, because it is like 95% bulletproof, and then for it to actually be fast and to get you around the map quick, that's like a whole nother level. I think that the HSW upgrade on a Karen Kuruma Armored would be super sick. I think that's something that Rockstar seriously needs to consider doing. Maybe give it a little bit of additional customization. Maybe make that back end of the Karen Kuruma Armored just fall into line a little bit better. Maybe that HSW suspension option can just lower the car enough to make it handle a little bit nicer. That would be super cool to see. That's it for the Karen Kuruma Armored. On to number 4. So I think it's time we got another SUV with HSW, and I think that the Ubermacht Rebla GTS is a great contender for this. It goes for $1,180,000 regularly. An HSW upgrade on this thing would be absolutely sick. With all the customization you can do to this thing, with all the performance that it has, with the great look of the vehicle and everything on top of that, I think this is a great candidate for an HSW SUV. Some forged carbon options instead of regular carbon options on this thing would go a long, long way. And I think that if you coupled that with what you can already do to the car, it would just be so phenomenal. And then for it to be even faster in a straight line, handle a little bit better maybe, I think HSW on the Rebla GTS makes almost the most sense on this entire list, if I'm being completely honest. I think that it fits in really, really well. Hopefully Rockstar does that one day. Fingers crossed. I'm gonna keep mine crossed. We'll see what happens, I guess. But that's it for the Rebla GTS at number 4. Let's move on to number 3. At number 3, we have the Progen Emirus, coming in at $2,750,000. The Progen Emirus is a phenomenal supercar in GTA to begin with, especially on last gen, but if it could have an HSW upgrade so it could compete on new gen consoles as well, I think that that would be absolutely phenomenal. It's already a very fast car, it has great downforce. I just think it needs a little bit more power on the straight line because it's not that fast in a straight line, unfortunately, which, you know, it's a lot less than ideal. So I think HSW on this thing would make a lot of sense. It's also rear wheel drive, so it wouldn't be like the easiest car to drive ever. It would actually have a bit of a skill gap to it, unlike something like the weaponized Ignis with the HSW or the Coil Cyclone 2, where you just hold down the trigger if you're going straight and that's just it. Having some sway in the back because it is rear wheel drive, you know, I think that would be very cool. And in the corners, that would be even cooler as well. Because if you got really good with the Emirus with the HSW, I think you could lay down some sick track times, that's for sure. I think the Emirus deserves it. It is based off the McLaren Senna, which is a great car in real life. I think it definitely deserves HSW, so fingers crossed the Rockstar does that for us. We'll see about that, but let's move on to number 2. And at number 2, we have the Grotti Italy RSX coming in at $2,600,000 all the way up to $3,480,000. Now, part of this is to fix the downforce issue that the Grotti Italy RSX has. If you didn't know, the RSX has an active rear spoiler, and no matter what spoiler you put on the car, the downforce value is absolutely 0, which means it doesn't go around corners very well. That's not to say that it's like the worst handling car ever, because it isn't, but it just could be a lot better. And if the downforce actually worked on this thing, it would be faster than the Italy GTO on every single circuit, which would be pretty cool to see. I do like how the RSX looks. I think it is a fantastic looking car. It's based off the Ferrari SF90, and I think an HSW upgrade, potentially the HSW suspension and potentially the HSW wings, could fix the downforce issue that the RSX has and make it just that much faster. I think that would be really cool to see. I think it deserves it. It's such a good looking car, such a good performing car, even despite having no downforce. But I just think that if they put HSW on it and they could fix the downforce, this car would be absolutely dominant in the sports category, which I honestly think this car is deserving of. So that's it for the RSX at number 2. Let's talk about number 1. And here at number 1, for the first time ever, we need a military vehicle with HSW, and I think the Insurgent Pickup Custom is a deserving vehicle. This thing goes for just under $2 million all totaled, and I think with HSW, it could be an absolute menace. Now, I'm not saying that I want this thing to have a top speed of 160. I'm not even saying I want it to have a top speed of 140. I think if they could bring up the top speed on the Insurgent Pickup Custom to maybe 120, 125 miles an hour, kind of match up with the Night Shark, and give it a little bit better handling potentially, I think that the Insurgent Pickup Custom would be a phenomenal vehicle to put HSW on. Even if you don't agree that it needs better performance or whatever, if it would be unrealistic, whatever you want to say, I think that it would just be cool to have an Insurgent Pickup Custom, a military vehicle that is just a little bit faster than it maybe should be. I think this would be really cool to see. I think it would be a first time ever for a, military vehicle, a true military vehicle, not the weaponized Ignis, but a true military vehicle that's got armor and everything like that, to have an HSW upgrade on it. I think that would be super cool. I think that the Insurgent Pickup Custom is a great candidate for it. You could even say the Night Shark maybe, but it's already pretty fast. I think the Pickup Custom would be a really cool one to see though. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. That is it for the 10 cars that need HSW in Grand Theft Auto Online, at least my picks for it. Let me know if you have any ideas for what cars you would like to see have HSW applied to them in the comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, dislike if you didn't. Of course, subscribe to my channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.